He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minutes!
Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Bat Minutes of the Phantasm. This is the podcast where we tumble downwards through each and every cascading minute of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
I'm your other host, John Parker, and I'm so dedicated to this, I'm even willing to swim through the sewers to find you cinematic nuggets, I guess.
I'm very impressed that the animators just didn't put in any nuggets themselves. Because there's prime opportunity for it. It's like, yeah, that water is very clean that he's going through there. But
It is. I always thought that. Like, is it even really a sewer? Because normally you animate a sewer, you make it look gross.
Yeah.
This is very clean. Maybe it's not a sewer. Maybe it's just, you know.
This is the time, though, when the turtles and stuff were out. It's like, they never encountered anything gunky in the sewers. They lived there. So maybe the early 90s in America was a pristine sewer country. God only knows. But
Yeah, the turtles gave me a weird view of the sewers. Like, as a kid, I'm like, oh, I want to go in the sewer. I want to go and play in the sewer. And my parents are like, no.
No. actually, well, might as well introduce the guest who's here, who's a guest who's here each and every season, and we love having him. He's always very welcome back. It is Phil of The Matrix Minute.
Oh, thanks so much. I'm so glad to be back. It's been so long. It's been so long, guys. What's up?
Yeah. Have you ever wanted to live in the sewers, Phil?
I have, actually. As a child, I was thinking the same thing that John Finn was talking about.
Yeah.
Watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and being like, it's so clean and cool over there. It's just rad.
Yeah, and you have fun pizza parties and everything.
Yeah, and I never associated the sewer with anything smelly or gross because of cartoons. Then again, you're talking to a person who's never been into a sewer personally, so.
See, I've been talking to
I don't know about you guys.
Because I'm back, visiting my family at the moment, and I've been talking to my nephew, and he's really into Mutant Mayhem. And
It's a good movie.
It was a great movie, and but he's been like he keeps telling me things about the turtles, and I throw things back at him, and he's always kind of stunned. Is like, how do I know this? And I'm like, kid, you don't understand. Like, the turtles were the biggest thing in the universe when I was like your age. Like, they were everywhere. I know everything about the turtles because it was fused into my DNA. But he's also going through that phase of like, oh, why? I like seeing like, oh, the sewer, like the manhole covers and the sewer. I always want to go and lift them up and have them to explain to him, oh, they weigh like a metric ton. Like,
Good luck, kid.
Yeah, the turtles make it look as if it's piss easy to just lift those things off. It's like, no, they are insanely heavy for a reason, because otherwise people will just go and steal them all the time and climb into the sewers.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You gotta have your security in check.
But anywho, we're not here today to talk. Well, we actually are here today to talk about sewers, kind of. But
I mean, it's in the minute.
but we're preliminarily here today to talk about minute 70 of a Batman Mask of the Phantasm. It opens with a world in flames, and it ends with a man mourning a dame. Dames, I'm telling you, you can't live with them.
You can't live without him.
Yeah, you just can't live with them. Yeah.
Oh, you just can't live with him.
Sexists.
I'm telling you, hey, take my wife, please.
Take my wife. Take her away from me. Come on.
But we are asking up front, Phil, and I'm very interested in you in particular because you are an artist of some repute. You've helped me.
Apparently.
Yeah, you've helped me with the guiding points, even in the creation of the logos for this very season. But
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear what is your history with Mask of the Phantasm. Do you remember when you first saw it and whatnot?
Of the Phantasm. It's funny. So, let's go back to December 1993. I was living in the U.S., I think. Not sure. No, I wasn't, actually. I was living in Austria. Everyone who's listened to Batman and Robin with my episode knows this. Because, we were talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I think the main thing to take away from this is that it's been something that I've noticed for a long time, but I haven't actually seen all of, except at a friend's place. It was a friend, had a VHS, it said Mask of the Phantasm, very captivating cover. It's the theatrical poster, and I think I remember seeing it in full at this friend's place. Don't even know the friend's name, actually. This was in the 90s, man. It was early 90s. And I was creeped out. I was particularly afraid of, the part where the Phantasm comes in and goes, tells the mafia boss, the last one that gets killed by the Joker, your angel of death is, and then, and then she turns him around and has that grin on his face. That scared the hell out of me. And those are they're little pockets that I remember when I was a kid. And I have never really revisited the movie as much as the rest of the animated series, just because I think you could imagine, I'm sure a lot of other guests said the same thing, I just didn't get it. It just wasn't interesting to me.
Yeah.
There wasn't any Killer Croc in there. There wasn't any Bane. There wasn't any, more colorful villains outside of the Joker. But even the Joker in this movie is a little bit more, he's used in a way that I now as an adult can appreciate so much more than I could when I was a kid. Because as a kid, it just didn't make sense to me. It was just scary and uncomfortable to watch. And so I just kind of avoided it for a long time. So I haven't seen this movie often, but every time I do, I gain so much more of an appreciation for it. So I think that could answer your question.
I love hearing you say all that because it ties into a repeated theme throughout the season of us thinking like this movie, despite being technically for kids, it's not. It's like a very serious drama.
It is.
Which is bizarre. I'm surprised any kids really got into it. I'm surprised it wasn't all, their parents or something. But
I know. Yeah.
It's more serious than most of the live action films.
No, I was gonna, I watched this movie. Obviously, I watched it in full once again after many years just for this podcast. And I think I went out of, after seeing it, I think I was just blown away. It was so much better than I remembered it being, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I watched it last night, so I couldn't stop thinking about it this entire day because of all the resonant and thematic elements. I think that this movie they weren't kidding. I just, everyone has a little Letterboxd account, and I don't really write reviews on it anymore. I just log in the movies that I watch.
Exactly the same. I can't be bothered writing the reviews. It's too much work.
Exactly. I don't even give stars anymore. But for this one, I just had to write, man, they weren't kidding when they said this was the best Batman movie ever.
Whoa. Oh, man, nice to hear.
Because, my gosh, this went into Batman's soul. This was... And it was so expertly made within that 1 hour, 16 minutes. It's so short, but it offers so much to think about. And it's just it's a tour de force. That's what I think it is.
Well said.
Yeah, that's a real... Although that's cause most of BTAS is like a work of art. But and these minutes in particular, though, are just oh boy, this is some good filmmaking.
It's great. It's really good.
This is so we're getting into how satisfying, because we've had some people who have beef with what becomes of the Joker here because it's kind of giving you blue balls. But I think the ending of this movie is so it's so satisfying. But in a it's just horrifically melancholic. It's so sad. But but it's great. I love it. It's the same thing as Batman Returns, where it's that movie just ends in such a beautifully sad note, and this one's the same. This one's even more devastating, really, because it's Bruce and Selina didn't really have all that much of a relationship in Batman Returns. They're obviously meant for each other and stuff, but you didn't really see them together all that much. But with Bruce and Andrea, it's no, they had a life path. They were on the road, but and it's
I think to fully appreciate this, life needs to have destroyed you first.
Oh no. So that's how you figure out who's the ones who got their lives destroyed. I got it. Okay. That's how you identify it. Wow. Okay, guilty then. But seriously, this especially this ending part. I love that you actually gave me one of my favorite moments in Mask of the Phantasm, because like I still love the design of the Phantasm itself, right? I love how it looks like, and I love all the creepy aspects about it. But then, like I said, as an adult, you see it differently. And this part in particular, where everything is exploding around this futuristic city of the future, and of course, there's the what do you call that? The analogy of it's all dilapidated and stuff like that. Very good symbolic stuff. But then there's this is one of my favorite things about how they even got the Joker right. Because, in the animated show, the Joker is kind of, sometimes he is played off as a coward. Sometimes he is played off as, the guy he's a trickster that does all this mischief, but then tries to go get away. And then when you thwart his plans, he's like, whoa, no. But here, with this incredible music by Shirley Walker, the master, Shirley Walker. I've been a fan of Shirley Walker for so many years. This crescendo and then the close-up of the Joker of just laughing his heart out because of in the face of death. It paints such an interesting and just haunting image within and I'm just talking about like one scene. I'm just talking about like one shot, one moment, and it's not even about this, but it just gives you an extra layer of something that feels so much like Batman. They got this down. You know what I mean?
I'm quite curious though what's happened with the Joker, because in the last week when he was zipping around.
I'm sorry, I didn't even talk about that. I was just talking about how it feels. Yeah. I don't care. I think I just think he just got away. He got maybe Andrea had a little change of heart and she just did kind of like throw him to the authorities or something.
I mean, we get into that, but I'm just more talking about like because in the previous week we had the Joker zipping around with Batman on that jetpack, and he was probably panicking because Batman wasn't letting go, and he's like, if you don't let me go, we're gonna both die. So it seemed like he was genuinely he was genuinely afraid of death then. But like, it's just here, like now that he's presented with this scenario, it's too hilarious to him to see like, oh yeah, I'm gonna die, but like, look at how devastated Batman is. Look at all this craziness I've caused. This is just like, oh my god, this is like my dream come true now. Like, this is hilarious.
I think so. I absolutely, I agree with you, Niall. I agree. That's what it's about.
Although there is a fan theory, and I only came across this in like recent months, obviously researching the movie. And this thing, like, this was another one where like some people apparently thought that like Arthur Reeves was being set up as like a red herring phantasm, whereas like I never felt that way, and none of the guests ever did either. They were like, no. Arthur Reeves, get out of here.
Arthur Reeves?
Yeah. But some people believe that because of the setup here, okay, that like you've established earlier in the movie that the Joker, when he was Jack Napier or the Tall Man or whatever, he saw Bruce Wayne and Andrea Beaumont together. He knows who Andrea Beaumont is. He was there. He killed her dad and stuff. And so then when Andrea says, like, it ends tonight, goodbye, my love, and the way Joker looks over at Batman, and then he starts laughing, it's supposed to be him going, oh Christ, he's Bruce Wayne. Like, that's my love. That's the guy that she was with way back in the day. Which is a thing I never thought. But also, it's kind of like, I mean, you could interpret, if you want this to be like the last time you ever saw the Joker, and this was how he died or whatever, this would be, I guess that would be a suitable death. Where it's like, he's literally,
and he would maybe find that funny.
Yeah. The hilarity to him would be then that after all this time, like the guy I've been fighting, I flicked a cigarette at his car way years ago, and then turns out that guy killed his girlfriend's dad, and like now she's become a crazy vigilante too. Hey, whoa, isn't this funny? But
No, it could definitely be seen that way for sure. I was actually thinking about that when I was watching it last night. I was like, does the Joker know now? Because I mean, the points are all kind of leading up to like, who else could it be? But and she calls him Bruce too, like within earshot sometimes, like where the Joker is.
She's not very good at protecting his identity there, is she?
And I was thinking about that too. I think you can. I mean, like, this is what's great about art. It's interpretive. If they're not giving you any concrete depictions, you could easily think that, but I'm just wondering now. I don't know. I'll be thinking about this while you guys talk.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The weird thing is, though, yeah, because, like, someone's thrown this out there, and then it's been a big debate that, like, where does this movie fall on the timeline? And I always interpreted it as being like, well, you could say it's just the end. Like, this is the last you see of the Joker, and then all the stuff, when it switched to WB and they switched the animation style, that's all new. Like, that's a different universe or whatever. But this is the end of the...
You think?
But apparently, though, and this is the thing, though, that doesn't really work at all, but recently, one of the directors, Kevin Altieri, has said that his intention was that it's all a prequel. Like, not just the flashbacks, but everything in here is a prequel to the Batman animated series, which is like... No.
Okay, why not? Well, I'm curious.
One thing is that... in that show, they had a whole big thing about, like, we don't want to ever use the bat signal. And then eventually they did, and they introduced it as it been a new thing in the Cape and Cowl conspiracy episode, which was like a couple of, like, it's deep into season 1. And then at the end of the movie, the bat signal, it's there at the end of the movie, it's there earlier in the movie. So it's like... It's
early in the movie,
yeah. And just everything about it is just like, no, the beginning of the BTAS feels like, he's kind of, it's early days. Whereas this is like, no, he's in it.
The reins
like,
in and everything. Yeah.
It's, yeah, so no, I didn't. And plus, there's just a lot of it. It's just like, it feels like he's deep into his career here.
Absolutely. This feels like he's been doing it a long time. Him and the Joker are very well acquainted, I would think, at this point.
Yeah. No, I'd say the same, because it just doesn't feel like it either. I would... No, go on. Sorry. I don't want to derail things too early.
It is funny as well, the Joker, his scheme, it explodes onto the screen, let's say. The bomb has dropped. I just thought it was really cool, his reaction to it. It's sort of like he's getting everything he wants in this moment. He might even die. Yeah. Doesn't matter. The plan has worked.
So good about it. Yeah.
I don't think it was even because his plan was to blow the thing up and then he'd fly away in that jetpack. So his plan, I guess, technically didn't entirely work, but he's also like, I'm rolling with this now.
Yeah,
This is all good.
That's what the Joker feeds on, I think. This is his best, like, one of his best scenarios right now. He's being able to see some people just being crushed by their own, just mentally crushed as well and emotionally crushed, and he's loving it. And then there's all this explosion happening. It's chaos. It's wonderful.
And not just any people that you're talking about there. It's his most hated
enemy.
But here's a question, though, because I've seen this clip always gets brought up as being like the best Joker laugh. Like, people really cling to this one.
It's a good one.
He's full.
It's on my top 5.
Yeah, but that's what my question was going to be, is like, would you put this as, in your experience of, because obviously we probably, amongst us, even the three of us combined probably haven't seen every Joker laugh ever throughout all mediums.
I won't have.
But, like, if you had to go, like, which do you think is the best of the best? Because, like, Hamill's up there.
The best single instance, or the best, like, actor at doing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what actor?
I would say more just like, if you were to go like the Joker laugh, which would be the first thing that would pop in your mind? Like, which example of a scene would be like, that's what that's supposed to be like?
Oh, Mark Hamill, hands down.
Okay, all right.
He's full of energy. It's just so. I mean, all the other ones, I can't think of any other ones except Cesar Romero, which is fine, and Heath Ledger, which is very subdued. There is barely any of that, right? It's he.
The thing is, Heath Ledger's is like, so I think he only really does one very pronounced one in the movie, is in the interrogation scene when he's getting railed on. And he comes out with a real, like, Batman's pummeling him, and it's just like that sets him off as like it has a big hysterical screech. And I remember because they used it and they actually blend it in the trailer. I remember the original trailer, and this is back in the day when there was like you hadn't seen the Joker in live action in like nearly 20 years, and it was what a time it was and stuff. Where I remember they had one of the first trailers for The Dark Knight coming out, and then they had a whole thing. He does a little narration, and then there's an explosion. They show you like the hospital blown up, and then a scattered bunch of Joker cars, and he goes like me, and then he just does this big, and it was just like the most exciting thing to a Batman fan in years. But It's only years later I realized like they actually whoever cut the trailer actually blended two laughs from the movie together to give it more emphasis. So I always thought like, oh, it's the one from the interrogation room, but no, it's actually like it's a little bit from an earlier scene way at the beginning of the movie, and then combined in. It's like, oh, that's a lot of care taken in to make that laugh really pop. That like,
because he's really subdued. He's really subdued in Dark Knight.
Yeah,
I'd say.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, there aren't many other Joker laughs that I can remember in my head, other than Mark Hamill's, because his is always so upfront and he does it so often, and he does a great job. He's like a damn good job with the way he does his laughs.
Having now covered two Jokers minute by minute, John, do you have a particular laugh that sticks out in our travels?
It's a difficult one for me because I grew up with Jack Nicholson, right? But his laughing is never like crazy.
Exactly.
It's more like, I don't even know what you'd call it. Like, it's a good laugh, but it's not what you sort of associate with the Joker, but it's what I grew up with, so I kind of do. But then, as I got older, of course, I got into the Heath Ledger one, which, again, he doesn't do that often. It's, so I think slowly, over the years, through the video games and now moving into podcasting, I think maybe Mark Hamill's taking over in my mind a little bit. Even though I didn't grow up with the animated series. So I think he is coming in now and replacing the other two because he does it so much.
Yeah.
But not in an irritating fashion.
No.
But we all know Jared Leto is the best laugh.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, what other Jokers could I pull from? And all I was thinking is Jared Leto, and I was like, I'm not gonna bring that up. I ain't bringing that.
It's Jesus Christ.
No, I have to say, I think although we covered it so early in the show, but I feel like the best every time I think of like, oh, the Joker laughing, it's still just Jack Nicholson's first one where he smashes the mirror and it just goes from it's sobbing into the
right,
and it just ascends into this like proper guffawing as he goes. It's like incredible. It's still like, I love you, Mark Hamill, but that's just like, that's such a powerful moment.
I think that is possibly still my most thought of one. But again, I grew up watching that movie like every week. I had the goddamn board game of it.
Yeah.
Remember when they made board games of things?
I think Jack has a couple of great, like even towards the end too, the whole on the parade float, if you gotta go with a smile, and he comes out with a really like he's really doing proper clowny stuff at that point. But it's got that whole I'm gassing people to death while I'm laughing like a hooting clown. It's like, this is it. This is the character, man. I'm loving it. But
Mark Hamill also has like different types of laughs for the Joker. You know, he has the really bombastic one, the one that we all kind of think of when you first say Mark Hamill's Joker laugh. But then there's also the one that I think I remember the most, which is the dark that kind of that one.
Yeah. The ones he kind of builds up.
He's got more. Yeah, Mark Hamill's got more, and that's why I'm sorry, I haven't seen Batman 89 as many times, I guess, as John Finn has. So it's just not in my head. It's just not in my head. You had to remind me when Jack Nicholson did a laugh in The Joker.
Oh, wow.
As the Joker in Batman 89. Yeah.
But no, Hamill does. He has a great range because he was just getting to use it all the time. So... like even in this movie, like was early on, he has that, can't be too careful with all those weirdos around. Like the kind of casual one he throws out. It's like, oh, it's great. But I think he might have actually hung up. I think he might be done now because Kevin Conroy's died. I think he said like if there's no Kevin, then there's no. Although he did apparently. I'll have to look this up to see if I can find it. But I remember hearing him interviewed, and he said one time that he did for someone's university project. It must have been someone like at a very a swanky university. Someone managed to put together a Lego Batman movie before Lego Batman the movie was a thing. So this would have been like probably like way early 2000s, I'd imagine. And they got together a cast, and he said it's the only time I've done it against someone who wasn't Kevin Conroy, but it was me and Adam West as Batman. And
West.
Yeah, and he got to record in person with Adam West, and he was just like, holy, because Mark Hamill's is a huge fanboy, so he was just like, like freaking out that he was meeting Adam West and stuff. And
that's a hell of a student animation.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure he said it was it must have been like someone's, some like Spielberg's nephew or something, like someone with a lot of sway, but.
Okay.
But like out there somewhere, because I tried looking it up and I couldn't find it, but out there somewhere there exists footage of Mark Hamill as the Joker versus, the Bright Knight himself, Adam West. Which seems like that'd be gold dust. You'd be wanting to plaster out everywhere, but
absolutely,
I know, yeah.
I want to see this.
Yeah,
I want to see it too.
But I think he has said in recent months that it's like it would almost be disrespectful for him to go on as the Joker when it's against a different guy. It's the two of them. They were kind of a set almost. So.
I get that. Totally it's fair. A shame, but I understand it.
I mean, like the Joker, like that episode with Sid the Squid, where everyone thinks Batman's dead, and the Joker's just like, "Without Batman, crime has no punchline."
Oh, that was good. That was a good impression.
Yeah, I've been honing it, but I think it'll be the same deal. Like Mark Hamill will be like, "Well, without Kevin, there is no Batman and the Joker for me. Like this is the guy I came up with." So. Which is totally understandable, but
it's absolutely understandable.
I actually think, especially in animation, because in animation you basically always end up with a Joker. I know in films you don't necessarily, but I think they should always be done as a pair. Like if you recast one, you recast the other. Keep them as a duo. They're a team essentially.
Yeah. That's true. I don't think I can't remember them ever doing that because you got like obviously had multiple Catwoman in the old show. But it was always Cesar Romero versus Adam West. And then it would have been like, I don't think there's ever been. It'll be obviously Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, Heath Ledger, Christian Bale. Unless Robert Pattinson opts out or they recast Barry Keoghan or something.
Oh, you wouldn't recast him. He's still hot, isn't he?
Okay, I wanted to bring that up even though it has nothing to do with Mask of the Phantasm. Please explain to me, just tell me, what did you think of the Joker and the Batman?
I bloody loved it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm like... the thing is, though, after talking about, so much this episode, about like, love of the Joker, I am very much like, don't use him for a long time. Like, do not bring that character, because he's been done to death recently.
Oh, I agree with that. Like, I didn't necessarily think he should be in the movie, but considering he was, loved it.
The little snippet was like, it's okay, that's fine. And then they had that deleted scene they brought out, where it was just the scene from Red Dragon. It was just Will Graham meeting Hannibal Lecter in the prison cell, and I was like, oh my god, it's so blatant a ripoff. Like, it's crazy. But then he was very ledgery and stuff. I'm just like, just leave him on the shelf for like a long. Just say there's a Joker around. You don't have to go to him. Like, just
maybe that's what they're going to do though. Like tease bits, like he's in the background, but you don't really see him very much.
But it was I felt it sort of. I guess I get why they put him in there to be like, look at how crazy the whole city is. It's not just the Riddler in Arkham. There's a whole bunch of crazy guys in here as well. But I thought it was like, no, it kind of dampened Paul Dano's movie. And then at the end, we're like, by the way, the Joker's here too. So like, just leave it on, man. You don't need to do that.
Yeah. Sorry, Jonathan. I didn't like it.
Oh, how dare you? You're gone from the show.
They might have just wanted to as well, to be like, look, if we don't cast this guy, every time we make a sequel, people are going to be, who's playing the Joker? When are you bringing the Joker? He's like, look, there he is. He's like, he's not going to be part of it, but there, Barry Keoghan is our Joker. If we ever want to use him, we've got him under contract. So
he's locked down. That's probably what it was, because he's becoming a big actor.
Yeah. No, he's on his way up. I'm very, very happy for a local boy to me. So yeah.
Wow.
I'll say local. He's in the same Ireland. Everyone's like your neighbor.
Yeah.
Everyone's your neighbor in Ireland.
Yeah. Other end of the country. They're my neighbor. It's fine.
I mean, they could do like, in America, like, people living across the country is like, they might as well be across the other side of the world. But like, to get to Barry Keoghan's hometown, it's like, probably like 3 hours on a bus. Like, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
But anyway, within the minute though, and I should I'll bring up this thing though, because it's a thing I've had to sit on the whole time, and every time people poo-pooed, the Joker just disappearing, and been like, you never find out what happened to him.
It's fine.
See, I love it. I think that's the way it should be, because it happens in multiple episodes where you think the Joker's dead, and then he just shows up again. I love the ambiguity of it. Even as a kid, I was just like, I liked it. They just left that mysterious. But there was, in one of the comic sequels, an explanation for us what happens next.
No.
We don't need everything explained.
But it was
We don't need everything explained.
But it was in from Paul Dini himself, acclaimed Batman writer Paul Dini.
Okay.
And
I'll cut him a bit of slack.
The previous cited, we talked about it earlier in the season, the Shadow of the Phantasm sequel comic, where it was just it has that lady who's named after a fox who can like turn into different people and stuff. It's very silly and it's Andrea comes back and there's a whole Arthur Reeves was secretly the villain, all this other stuff. But no, there's a sequence then at the very beginning where they talk about like how it ended, and then Bruce saw his the love of his life disappearing in this cloud of smoke, and et cetera, et cetera. But then it says but for Andrea Beaumont, the avenging phantasm, the story would have a very different ending. For years, Andrea waited for the chance to have her father's killer at her mercy. But that one-time hitman was long dead. And then there's just Andrea going into the sewers and just dropping the Joker down onto like a catwalk. And then she just goes over and starts like strangling him and throwing him around, going, beg, insisting that he beg for mercy. And the Joker's just really dazed and just grinning at her, just like, what? He's clearly not going to do that. And then for an instant she paused as Batman's words came back to haunt her. But Andy, what will vengeance solve? Which was the big thing, like you remember a couple of weeks ago. That was Batman's line to her, and then she had the great comeback of like, well, if anyone knows about that, Bruce, it's you. But
you had to do it. You had to hit me with that again.
Burn. But like it turns out that actually had an impact because that stays her hand for a bit to be like she could kill the Joker right now.
Right.
But it actually did, and it's a little bit. It undermines, but also adds to the tragedy of like the next minute even more, because when Bruce is like, I just couldn't save her, Alfred. It turns out he kind of did, because she was going to kill the Joker, and then him saying that stopped her for at least a split second, because then the explosions are going off everywhere. The tunnel they're in blows up. The Joker falls into the water, floats away laughing, and then Andy's just like, oh, that was my chance. Oh, I'm done. I'm out of here.
Whereas here, what is she doing? Whisking him away for torture?
I guess so. I guess you just have to take him somewhere to get another spare hatchet hand to kill him with or something. I don't know.
I mean, like that's what I said at the beginning of this episode. I just said maybe she just has a change of heart a little bit, and kind of just tosses him close to the police or something, and that's about it. So it's kind of the same thing. Not as dramatic, but, it's all up to the imagination at this point, right? So
I think, though,
both work.
If she killed him right now, in Joker's mind, he's won, right? That's why he's breaking down laughing. He's won. He's done it. I don't think she would feel satisfied. It'd be a bit hollow, wouldn't it? It'd be like, oh, okay, well, I killed him, but like everything's screwed.
Yeah. I mean, would it be a suitable death for the Joker, though, if you were to just interpret this as, Andy takes him away and kills him? Would it be like, I guess is it hubris?
No.
To be like, he like the thing he did before he was even the Joker came back to bite him in the ass. And after all this stuff, years later after his clown rampage, it was a thing he did when he was just a normal guy, is the thing that undoes him. And it was his choice. He could have killed Andrea too, but he didn't. And then he's just like, oh, look, hey, I guess I probably should have killed this lady when I had the chance. But,
yeah, but that's kind of semantics, isn't it? It's just, I mean, no. I mean, it'd be similar, like, and not to get in any spoilers, but there's a death of a major character in The Wire that's just like so out of nowhere. And it completely has split the fandom of just like this character was built up to be having a huge finale. He was such a beloved figure, and it's like, oh, I can't wait to see the big final showdown. And he's killed by like a random kid just holding up a liquor store or whatever. And it'd be the same kind of vibe, but like, the Joker just getting offed by some rando instead of it being Batman himself, or it being a big, like in the Return of the Joker, where it is a big moment when the Joker gets killed. To have it just be like, Batman's ex-girlfriend killed him. An incidental plot line, Yeah, it's funny how little weight that would have if he did just get killed like on screen, definitively.
Yeah.
It would just be well, just another body in the pile of revenge that we were talking about
Yeah.
will just consume you, and it will never be enough. I mean, to be fair, that kind of would work, but at the same time, this isn't it. At the same time, at the end of the day, this is an animated show for younger people, and so it's not gonna. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it.
I like
I think
overthinking things
we're
though,
glad.
like
Right.
like when Andrea whisks him away here, his laughter fades out, which made me think. To me, that's evidence for what we were talking about, right? This isn't magic. This is just with a weird ninja smoke bomb, and then she runs away really fast, right? Because if his voice is fading, that means she's like dragging him away, right?
Yeah. That's what I always
Yeah,
thought.
well, it makes more sense, but throughout the movie, it seems to be presenting it quite often as magic.
I just don't know if the Joker just really wanted to ruin her trick too. He's like, by the way, Batman, she's just dragging me away. She's not actually she's not like evaporating or anything.
Shut up, Joker! You're trying to make it look fake.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. Andrea with the cigar and the hat, like, she's trying to make it look. That's a very specific reference, Phil. I don't know if you get that.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh God!
But I do love though, just in terms of like little bits they do in the animation, because they have Joker has this big laugh, but I love the fact that he slumps down even more. Like he's kind of half standing up. And then as his laugh continues, he just lets his body go limp because he's just so in kind of like convulsions of laughter. And then that's
great.
Yeah, that's when Andrea fades away. It's like it's a nice touch. And then there's a thing that sorry, go ahead, John.
No, it's not connected to that as such. It's just another nice touch. So if yours is connected, you go ahead and edit this out.
No, I was just going to say, and also too, a thing that I remember really amazing me as a kid, and just been like, just learning the physics of the world and stuff. To see that the globe, to see the way the fire is growing across.
Yeah, it's growing
the sphere
around the globe.
Yeah, because animation when you're a kid, most of it was fairly basic. So if they wanted a thing to blow up, it would just blow up, or it would just be on fire.
Yeah, it would blow up in 2 frames.
Yeah, but this is you see the flames literally creeping around the entire, and it feels spherical. It's the taking the detail to be like, no, it's a globe, so the fire will crawl around it in this kind of angle and stuff. It's
What the hell's this thing made out of, though, to explode the way it does? Or is there yet another bomb in there, maybe?
I mean, yeah, probably would be. He was joking it's 20 miles of tunnels and also a big globe thing, I guess. But
Yeah.
He's got time.
he got nothing but time. He's sitting there by himself just planting bombs, I guess, for 5 months or
man.
something.
As it does blow up, and then we're going to be propelled into the ground beneath. I just wanted to highlight how good the music is in this section as well.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to highlight how good the music is in this section too. This entire
I mean,
minute
you're
is
going to have to fight to the death then
beautiful.
to find out who's going to highlight how good the music
Quite
is.
a
in
fitting
this.
choice of words, because I wrote down it reminded me of Jewel of the Fates
Oh,
from
yeah.
Star Wars. Jewel, we're going to Jewel.
Well, as a fan of Shirley Walker and the fact that she's been taken away from us way too early, and I always had so much respect for all her themes and her leitmotifs and the things that she did with not only Batman but also Superman. I am a proponent of Shirley Walker's. Do you guys remember the Batman Superman adventures? They had the whole extra opening with they made a whole new animation for that entire segment, right? The new Batman Superman adventures.
Oh yeah.
And Shirley Walker did the opening theme for that. And for me, that is my favorite Superman, where it goes from the dark kind of and then it goes to Superman, which is bum 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 ba-da-dum, bum 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 ba-da-dum. It's awesome. She understood what was needed for everything, and I think she understood the assignment with Mask of the Phantasm and made I was thinking, okay, so I'm sorry it's not about this particular segment, but I was just thinking to myself, I love the opening with the choir. It's so melodramatic, it's so orchestral, so deep and so resonant.
Wonderful.
But yes, and when I was younger I was like, that's great. But now when I watched it just recently, I'm thinking it's so perfect because it's so it just relates to what is being what is happening in the story, because it's all internal. most of it is like most of it is very much about Bruce Wayne and all the conflicts that he has, and it's just like it's his inner voice. You know what I mean? There's a reason why there's a choir in there. It's a more humanity sort of feeling, and the fact that it's also supposed to be a movie just elevates that with more instrumentation and orchestration. And so what I wanted to come back to is this part. It just tells you everything you need to know what's going on emotionally in this. There's chaos. There's so much. I think this is kind of the climax, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Of both Andrea's and Bruce's stories, and that conflict that just explodes with all the explosions sonically is just something that should be looked at and admired, because there's a lot of thought being put into that.
I suppose the explosions are kind of they're more of a metaphor in some ways for what's happening with their lives and their love and all this. It's blowing up.
Another metaphor. That's why I'm saying this movie is so tight. It's so like there's so much in everything in there.
It's just the fact that there's the final step of like the future they had, like their date was in this world of the future, and that future became decrepit and rotten, and but it was still there, it was still just withering away. And then now, through the actions of what's going on now, it's like it's all gone. Like it's literally up in flames.
It's all gone. It's up in flames. It's exploded, and we're done.
Yeah, and
it's very.
I love too.
Sad.
The speak of the music is like I love that it cuts in very suddenly. There's no like build up as the explosions are happening. It's like Shirley just lets it like you hear all the explosions, and then it's just bam, and almost you're just in there. It's just like hellfire, brimstone, Greek chorus. Kind of, I guess that's the most dramatic thing ever. It's like people. It's very dramatic. It's like if you can't do. In Gothic Batman, the most over-the-top dramatic music when the world is literally on fire. Like, when can you do it? Like, this is the perfect opportunity for this stuff.
Exactly, and she doesn't handle it like another action scene either. It's not, it's not just your typical bum-bum with all the, brass just going... It's none of that. It has weight. It has so much like operatic weight to it, as opposed to because Shirley's done a lot of she's done all the scores for the original animated series, and she knows when to incorporate just kind of indifferent action music. But this isn't indifferent action music.
You know what isn't wonderful? The explosion, here blows a hole in the ground, sends the bat, tumbling into the sewers, and all I could think of. I hate water levels on video games.
Oh yeah.
Has anyone ever enjoyed a water level?
Only that one from Donkey Kong 64, which has like
that.
But even it's just entirely because of the music, like the what do you call it, like aquatic ambiance. It's just like the most beautiful.
Just because of the music.
No,
it's good music. You're right. That
was that one. Didn't they do like the hardtimes.net or whatever? Did a thing of like composer tasked with creating music for. Gorilla riding dolphin creates transcendent piece of music. It's like
oh wait, it's the Stickerbush. Is it the Stickerbush Symphony one? Is that what it was called?
I think that's the one. Yeah. Aquatic ambiance. That's an incredible piece of music.
Yeah,
but
no, it's fantastic.
That's the only one because it's just like there's no risk of drowning either. It's just like no, you're fine.
Yeah,
that makes a big difference to it.
Yeah, when it's Sonic 2, and it's just like you're there for 2 seconds, and then you just go.
Oh, I have nightmares about that still, and he's gasping. He's like choking and gasping for air, and it's horrible.
Yeah,
but
Jesus Christ.
You better go fast. What can I say?
Well, true.
You can't go fast underwater.
Yeah, that's also true. You can't
go as fast as you can.
But that'd be something though, if, like Batman fell into the water and then instantly went into like.
He has to get oxygen from just a bubble that's randomly there.
And like the normal music kicks back in then for a second, and then like, oh no, he's drowning again.
In the Arkham games, I mean they don't really
sewers?
do water much, do they?
I don't think there ever was a water level. No, not that I can recall. No, there was
no sewers.
There was sewers, but you're not in the water really.
There's a whole big thing with Killer Croc where you have to go in to his lair. That's all in the sewers, which is a really good level.
Yeah, but he gets you from the water. You don't go in the water.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything. No, I don't think it's of all the things they did. I don't think they ever like Batman swimming. Maybe.
Thank God, because they know everyone hates
Batman
it.
swimming.
It's terrible. I genuinely can't think of a single goal. Even games I love, even if they're in the proximity of water, unless it's BioShock. Like Knights of the Old Republic, the Star Wars game. There's a bit where you're like in a city under the sea. Hate it. I think Mass Effect might do it as well.
I was thinking, yeah, some of those Tomb Raider games too. You go in, and then sometimes you get lost under the water because they all look the same.
Oh, don't get me started on those. Yeah, those are difficult.
I feel for Batman here. He's not going to know where the hell he is. He's getting whisked away. He's trying to prevent it, but it then dumps him out into the sea. I guess. I don't know. It's hard to tell where he is. Is it a lake?
Batman, get in the sea. That used to be a thing on the internet. Remember the whole "get in the sea"
Get in
craze?
the sea.
No, I don't remember that one.
I think it was a very English thing. I remember it used to be "get in the sea" was a kind of a people used to just post headlines about what the Tories were up to, and then "get in the sea."
Basically, if it's something's crap and you want to get rid of it, the idea is like you're throwing it into the sea. It's the, get in the sea.
So that's what it's get in the sea. Okay.
It's not like a Homer Simpson under the sea where it's like the greatest thing in the world scenario. Well, that's the thing though, Phil, because you're a man, obviously knows his animation, knows his artwork.
I'm a man.
Does this animation of Batman cascading down through the sewers, does it remind you of anything? Does it look familiar at all?
All right, let me take a look. See, okay, so he's falling in, getting dragged by the current, falls down the waterfall thing. Right, that's what I'm watching right now, and it just dives in.
The bit where he's clinging onto a wall.
He's clinging onto a wall, and then no.
Okay.
Same. No idea where this is going.
This entire segment, this specific animation, the whole thing of him going through the tunnels and under the water, clinging onto the wall, and then bunged out into the sea, is directly lifted from a 1978 animated movie called Lupin III, The Castle of Cagliostro.
What? Cagliostro. Yeah. No kidding.
And this is, some people might be interested to know, it was the directorial feature debut of one Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah,
so...
wow, no way.
Went and watched the movie when I found out this. And then it was one of those things, too, because I've watched all the Ghibli stuff. And then they're like...
I still didn't see Cagliostro.
Oh, that's the thing, too. Then everyone was like, yeah, this is like one of his most influential things he ever did. And it was like his first movie. But yeah, and it was the sequel to like, because apparently Lupin the Third is a manga character created by a guy called Monkey Punch.
Yeah.
And like he's a really beloved character. He's just like he's a thief, and he's a thief, a scoundrel. You know, you'd like.
Yeah, he's a big deal in Japan.
Yeah, he just goes around stealing stuff, and it was always confusing because it's always they present as Lupin 3. And so like, oh, is it the third movie? No, it's the second movie. He's Lupin the Third, and you're like,
yeah, I know, right?
But there's a sequence out because he steals a lot of money, and it turns out it's all counterfeit money. So he goes to the castle of Cagliostro because apparently that's the source of the counterfeit money. And there's a whole thing where he has to rescue a princess called Clarice. Spelt the name as our frequent guest, Clarice Lockery. So I was like, I wonder if her parents named her, because her name's not spelled like Clarice Starling. It's still like it's Clarice like this way. I was like,
but you still have to say Clarice.
Oh, every time she's on, I have to stop myself from saying hello, Clarice.
I know.
But yeah, so the bit where they break in, him and Lupin and his friend are breaking in. They go in through the moat, in through like the castle irrigation system. All this is exactly these frames. It's exactly the same animation.
Wow.
And there's a bit where like they get sucked in the current and they're clinging onto the wall, and Lupin's like swimming against the current and all this other stuff. It's like and they're not like stealing it. They're just like, yeah, it's a tribute to the Castle of Cagliostro, which apparently was so influential that like as a movie, apparently it influenced Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's the tone and everything about Raiders is kind of like they're riffing a little bit on that. You might recall like in the Goonies, Data has that belt buckle that shoots like a little grappling hook thing, like a little sticky dart, grappling hook. That's in Castle of Cagliostro. Also, the arcade game based on it is in the background in the Goonies. Hey. There's references to it in the Simpsons movie. The Great Mouse Detective also does a lot of references to it.
Oh, man. Okay, well, I definitely have to watch this movie.
It is really, really good. And also, it's not the only time that Beat-Ass dipped their wick in it, because
I beg your pardon.
At the end of the first episode featuring the Clock King, obviously takes place in the giant clock tower, the finale where he's sword fighting Batman on like moving cogs of clocks. And obviously because everything's moving all the time, they're kind of jumping from here to there.
Yeah,
it's a bit like in the end of Hellboy 2 when he's fighting the Golden Army and it's all moving cogs everywhere and stuff. But it's the Lupin versus the Count in the Castle of Cagliostro is exactly the same sequence, and they're just like, yep, we just swiped it from.
That's amazing.
And the film itself's a bit like Mask of Phantasm in just that, like, it came out, it bombed. Nobody liked it when it was first released.
Oh, man.
And then over a period of time, it became the most and it was made in like 4 months or something, which is insane to consider in the level of detail in it. But Mask of Phantasm thrown together in like 6 months on demand. And so I guess they share a similar backstory in that they were like, came out, nobody liked it, threw it together in no time, and then within a generation, everyone's like, this is the best thing ever made, basically. But yeah. So
that's amazing.
That's the whole sequence.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
And,
I really have to see Castle of Cagliostro. I keep saying I'll watch it, and like it's been years, and I'm like, I'll watch it. But now I have a really good reason to watch it because I'll just think of every other movie I've ever seen watching it.
It's also apparently John Lasseter's favorite film. And he apparently won over his wife by showing her the Castle of Cagliostro. But then that used to be like, oh, it's a really nice story. But now it's like everything about John Lasseter recently is something like, yeah, all right, it is. Because all these guys just have to ruin everything. You can't remember things fondly anymore. It's like, oh, I remember this. Like, yeah, the guy who made that now turns out to be a bit of
Never look up anybody you ever appreciated from the past. Never.
Yeah, hope all of you enjoyed your time with that 70s show, because it's ruined now, goddamn.
No, I think you can still enjoy the show. Yeah, it's tough. It's a bit fresh at the moment. Let's wait and see.
Yeah.
Speaking of fresh, actually, Batman ends up back at the Batcave. And this Misery's a bit fresh, isn't he? Isn't it? He's sitting there sort of looking absolutely miserable. He feels like a bit of a failure. I think like I didn't stop the Joker. I didn't, get Andrea back. Everything's crap.
Yeah.
I've lost.
Yeah.
That's how we end this minute, don't we?
He's probably sort of like, oh, Alfred's taking so long to clean out all the poop out of my cape. So much, the goddamn sewer.
Oh, God, yeah. If it is a sewer, oh, no. That'll smell. You won't get the smell out of the boots.
I've been thinking, too, seeing all really funny colored water. It's like, is that what the Joker's pee is like? What is that?
What?
It turns like his hair is green, his skin's white. Yeah, his pee is purple, turns out. Like, it's crazy.
I could believe
this isn't
that.
something I was coming to hear. Okay. I wasn't expecting
his
this.
His sweat is green.
That was the thing we had to contend with. His fingernails are green in the 89 movies. Like, what else about this? Are his pubes green? What's going on with this guy?
Oh, man.
I would guess so. And his armpit hair?
There has to be. It's like, why would they be any different? Yeah. I guess it's like nipple hair, all that. It's going to be, yeah.
It's going to have to be green, I guess.
Anywho, yeah. I'm all noted out. Now we're down to talking about the Joker's pubes. I think we're noted out for minute 70.
I think that's a great sign.
So we will head off into the dark, dark night. Come and speak to us, all the social media, all the usual. Just type us in, find us, and join us again on Wednesday for more Bat Minute of the Phantasm. We've got minute 71 for you, Batmites.
Next time, Giving Up the Ghost. Our boy in black and blue is actually feeling blue. But then what's new? Lamenting the loss of both his best fiend and a girlfriend, it seems. Fatherly comfort is offered from Gotham's stiffest upper lip. But could the Caped Crusader finally crack upon discovering his dearly departed's leaving gift? We have something in our eye next minute, Batmites. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute. I must have dop, stiff it, tabby,